One of the biggest reasons why we're not asking for help, we're not asking for the sale, we're not asking for our needs to be met, is because we're afraid of rejection. We're afraid of being told no. And this is something that even stems from our childhood, of being told no. And what we're talking about today in particular is rejection protection. Make peace with the no so that you can heal and deal with rejection. Sensei Victoria Whitfield here, your journey partner in business, welcoming you back to my mansion here in Plainfield, New Jersey. And this is your business energy flow forecast so that you're able to cast your mindset first before you go into the day ahead. Make sure that you set your mindset right to stay on track to increasing your income and impact. We make sure that you have your energy in alignment because your energy is everything, especially in business. So if you have not yet, like, subscribe, share, comment below if you are watching the premiere. It's good to see you. Welcome back. And if this is your first time here, also comment below. I would love to hear from you and what your insights are from today's meditation. So we're looking at what is preventing you from staying on track, in living with purpose, in serving the people that you are called to. What is preventing you from continuing to endure in doing the good work, right? This is part of our larger series that we've been meditating all year on staying on track. And for this 4-episode sprint, we're really looking at what prevents us from staying on track is not asking for help, for the sale, for the respect, right? And today in particular, my spirit guides are telling me to tell you what you need is rejection protection. To know that your heart, your soul, your mind, your spirit are protected and safe even when you are experiencing rejection. When someone tells you no, or I can't afford that, or oh, I'm not available, or actually I'm not interested, or no, thank you, right? When you receive the no, what do you do? And moreover, before you receive the no, what do you do? For many of us, right, we may be thinking, I'm not even going to ask. I'm not even going to try in the first place because I can't take being rejected again. So when we're talking about rejection protection, what we're really talking about is dealing with the past. What came before us? Who came before us, right? We have a vision, right? We have a vision of the past that reminds us of negativity, reminds us of pain, of loss, of disappointment and discouragement. And because we have this negative vision, this negative experience, this negative fixation from the past of mommy telling you no, daddy telling you no, or the big client saying, actually, no, we're going to go with so-and-so over here, right? Or the hot guy saying, actually, no, I'm not interested, or I'm already in a relationship. That obsession with the past bleeds into the present and stops you in your tracks from asking in the first place, even though the past is gone. It happened already. It's completely irrelevant. In fact, your past rejection may have absolutely nothing to do with the current situation where you are called to invite, called out to ask and to open your mouth and communicate with clarity. It may have absolutely nothing to do with it, but for some reason we're still holding on. And so today in particular, we're going to turn to history, science, and spirit, as always, to help us let go and feel safe with rejection protection. With that, as always, we're going to continue our month-to-month chapter study of Think and Grow Rich. This is an incredible classic on mindset, abundance mindset, personal growth and development, and personal achievement, written by Napoleon Hill. If you haven't gotten your copy yet, or go ahead and buy it for the group, buy it for the whole team, like buy it for your clients. Let's go. We are on, in my copy, this copy, it's chapter 13 is the brain. Comment below what it is in your copy. I don't know. There are many different versions of this book. And for this passage from Think and Grow Rich, we're going to look at another side of dealing with rejection and healing from it. And that is, you've got to be in it to be protected from rejection. You got to be in it to be protected. Not even to win it, but to be protected. Watch this, okay? So in this chapter, he's talking about all the incredible faculties of the brain and how much we don't understand, how much we're just barely starting to learn about it. And Napoleon Hill goes on to say, the New York Times published an editorial showing that at least one great university and one intelligent investigator in the field of mental phenomena are carrying on an organized research through which conclusions have been reached that parallel many of those described in this and the following chapter of this book. The editorial briefly analyzed the work carried out by Dr. Rhine and his associates at Duke University. And now he's quoting the article. What is telepathy? A month ago, we cited on this page of some of the remarkable results achieved by Professor Ryan and his associates in Duke University for more than 100,000 tests. 100,000 tests to determine the existence of telepathy and clairvoyance. These results were summarized in the first two articles in Harper's Bazaar magazine. In the second, actually Harper's Magazine, in the second, which has now appeared, the author, E.H. Wright, attempts to summarize what has been learned or what it seems reasonable to infer regarding the exact nature of these extrasensory modes of perception. Pause. My spirit guides are saying pause. If you are watching this video, you have had experiences of telepathy and clairvoyance in your life. Comment yes if that's you. If you're watching this video though, my spirit guides are saying that has happened to you. Telepathy is thinking or hearing what another person's thinking with accuracy. Clairvoyance is to see, right? Seeing what others are seeing with accuracy. Not that they were anywhere near you. Like somehow you just know. You have had an experience of just knowing information that there's no way, 5 sensory, sight, sound, taste, touch, smell, there's no way that you could have had access to that information. You've had an experience. If that's you, type yes. And by the way, share, what was your experience of it? Unpause. The actual existence of telepathy and clairvoyance now seems to some scientists enormously probable as the result of Rhine's experiments. Various percipients were asked, it's interesting, instead of participants, it says percipients. I'm gonna have to look that up. Were asked to name as many cards in a special pack as they could without looking at them and without other sensory access to them. About a score of men and women were discovered who could regularly name so many of the cards correctly that there was not one chance in many a million millionth of their having done their feats by luck or accident. But how did they do that? These powers, assuming that they exist, do not seem to be sensory. There is no known organ for them. The experiments worked just as well at distances of several hundred miles as they did in the same room. These facts also dispose, in Mr. Wright's opinion, of the attempt to explain telepathy or clairvoyance through any physical theory of radiation. All known forms of radiant energy decline inversely as the square of the distance traversed. Telepathy and clairvoyance do not. But they do vary through physical cause as our other mental powers do. Contrary to widespread opinion, they do not improve when the percipient is asleep or half asleep. But on the contrary, when he is most wide awake and alert. Ryan discovered that a narcotic will invariably lower a percipient score, while a stimulant will always send it higher. The most reliable performer apparently cannot make a good score unless he tries to do his best. Tying this back to rejection protection. Unless you're trying to do your best, spirit and the guides can't protect you. You will have no regrets if you did your best, if you had an authentic conversation with the person, if you came from the heart and you didn't come from fear. That protection is not going to come around you unless you are at a higher vibration, right? Narcotic being, okay, putting you to sleep, numbing and dumbing you down, drugs, alcohol, whatever you can to try and social lube it up so that you can get to the point of telling the person how you feel, right? Confessing your feelings, or getting to the point of telling what your needs are, right? That numbing and dumbing yourself up chemically is actually going to ruin your ability of being protected from the harm of rejection. Where if you were clear and you were clean energetically as well as chemically, you have that protection from the inside out because you were your authentic self. You let it all on the table. You left it out there. You didn't hold back. You didn't fake it. You didn't ask out of fear and desperation. No, you were solid and grounded. The same way that they wouldn't have been able to do those experiments to see all of the capabilities that these clairvoyant and telepathic people had unless they were in it and risking it and authentically giving their answers. Let me tell you something. As someone who for the last 14 years as a Reiki master, energy healer, working on people's energy, sometimes I get messages and I've noticed the more that I just say exactly what I hear and feel, rather than trying to edit it and make sure that it sounds as palpable as possible, the more accurate I've become over the years. It is a risk. You have to be in it and trying to do your best, as the article that Napoleon Hill was quoting says. You have to be in it and trying to do your best in order to receive the protection. It is a spiritual protection that comes from you being authentic and earnest. But okay, is there anything else that we can learn, anything else that we can receive perhaps from science, right? around rejection protection and making peace with the no, making peace with it. How can I feel protected as I'm going out there and risking asking and risking being rejected in the first place? So we're turning actually to the science of selling, right? Salesology. And so this article comes from Knowledge at Wharton's podcast on Sirius XM, channel 111. Great number, you guys, well done. And they're interviewing author David Hoffield on the science of good salesmanship. Here's the quote. So Wharton asks, do salespeople sometimes lose their perspective, which ends up causing them to lose the sale? They're not focusing enough about the person and just thinking about their bottom line? Hoffield answers, I think that happens a lot of times, and I think it's oftentimes because we're so focused on ourselves. The way to be successful in sales and in business is really to focus on other people. This is one of the things that the science shows us and we teach our clients. For example, one of the biggest questions I get is, how do I create new customer relationships? What do I do? How do I break through the ice regardless of the method I use? Too often in sales, we begin by saying things like, if I could have a few minutes of time just to ask some questions, just to see if our product or service might be able to help you in some meaningful ways. If I could just have a few minutes of your time. Of course, everyone rejects that idea because we don't want to go fishing for value. What I always tell them is leverage reciprocity. Type that in the comments below. Leverage reciprocity. What is reciprocity? It's a social norm that says we should repay others for what they've done for us. We want to begin by giving value. Don't ask for things, give things. What is a meaningful insight? Perhaps it's a white paper or an article, a blog post, something you found in the research about their organization, something you can give them for free that has a high level of value and demonstrates your expertise. Once you start with giving, people are now going to reciprocate. They're very likely now to answer your questions honestly because they feel this psychological debt. Reciprocity has been shown to boost sales in some cases by over 100%. It's extremely powerful. It keeps our focus on whom we should always be focused on, our customer, and giving value on every sales call. Wharton asks, what's the key then for salespeople to get the close, which in layman's speak means get the yes, get the money in the bank, get them to sign up? Hoffield responds, the key is to focus on what comes well before it. Oftentimes in sales, we get seduced by the close. We think that what happens there is what prompts the sale. It's not. Every piece of research shows that there are certain commitments our brains must make. And if we make them, we're very likely to say yes at the end of the sale. If we don't, we won't. The way I look at selling is really a series of incremental commitments that guide our potential customers on a progression of consent. Write that down. Progression of consent. Naturally advancing the sale and leaning them into that final decision to purchase because that's how our brains make big choices. We first make small ones that are aligned with the big ones, and that's how our brains construct them. We think of commitments as literally the building blocks of the sale. What's an important thing? This is an important thing because oftentimes our potential customers hate the close because they feel pressured. Why? Because they've been sold to badly. They've been sold to in ways that conflict with how their brains make choices. Their brain doesn't make one big decision at the end of a persuasive request. It makes it throughout that request. I repeat, this was such a good sentence. Their brain doesn't make one big decision at the end of a persuasive request. It makes it throughout that request. We need to begin to look at, instead of how do we want to sell, how does the brain make a decision? How can you help your potential customers make that choice? How do you make it easier for them so they walk away feeling good about their decisions? They feel confident in them, that you get loyal, happy customers. The way you sell makes such an impact on that. Tying this back to rejection, protection. So building on the article that Napoleon Hill read us from the New York Times, you got to be in it to receive the protection from rejection. When you're in it now, right, Hoffield is teaching us, you want to build levels of consent. You don't want to try and persuade someone or try to only focus on getting one big yes or expecting one big no, but it's a series of building blocks of consent and understanding and negotiation over time, rather than thinking, I'm afraid of one static rejection or failure. When you're in it, when it's more of an iterative experience, an iterative ask, the yes as well as the no becomes iterative. You would have long known if you were having that ongoing back and forth, right, to use an AI term, that back propagation driven conversation of like, oh, feedback. Is this resonating? No? Okay, so then let's actually switch gears, because if this isn't resonating, why would I tell you more? Whereas, is this resonating? Yes? Okay, so then let's talk more about this, right? The feedback, the back and forth, the communication. You can experience rejection protection by building in a series of back and forth communication. This is a two-way street. It's not just one big fat rejection. Your mind makes it out to be, though, because looking back in time, it happened and it was big and emotional and awful and everything back there. But I'm telling you, being in it, here, receive the protection in the present moment. Ground and be present to the fact that this is a two-way street. It is a conversation, a communication. This is not just, oh, I'm about to get rejected, so let me power through and try and be as intense as possible so that I can. And no, we make it out to be way more than it actually is in our heads. Spirit, what do you have for us? The tarot card of the day is the Five of Water. Five of Water. Come on, Five of Water. As a challenger, things not turning out the way you'd hope, not seeing the positive in a situation, crying over spilled milk. So water has to do with our emotions. It's cups, right? So our passion, our intuition, our feelings, the past, memories. Five has to do with change. And so upside down means we're challenged to take a look at this. We're invited to take a second look at this, and we're kind of resisting taking a look at the fact that we are in our feelings about the change, the unexpected. We're in our feelings about it, and we're obsessing, trying to control something that is uncontrollable. My spirit guides telling me to read. Things may not have turned out the way you expected. Be careful not to focus too much on the negative, as there's a positive in every situation. You may be missing the silver lining. Fighting or trying to ignore change does not serve you. And this is where I'm going to end that and move on to our action steps of the week. Spirit's trying to tell us that as you go throughout this day, set your mindset to be vigilant about how you might be focusing on the negative, and like the articles said, making rejection out to be one big bad thing to like freak out and prepare for. No, it's much smaller. It's back and forth. It's a two-way conversation. It's a relationship. Take your time, slow down. Slow down, right? Unravel, release tension, unravel the tightness. To that, you're going to hop on Skool now for the meditation of the day. And that is when you go into Skool, you're going to type in the app, right? Or whether you're doing it on desktop or on your cell phone. By the way, tell me what are you using? Are you using the mobile version of our platform, or are you doing it on desktop? Tell me in the comments. And you're going to put in the search bar, Healing Canyon Winds, like in the ground, a canyon. Healing Canyon Winds. It's 17-minute strategic meditation. What you're going to do when you go through that visualization is you're going to allow that dry, deep, fresh air from the canyon to wash away the past. You're going to allow that visualization to be as vivid and multisensory as it needs to be to help you, and I get the chills as I say this, to help you release your attachments and obsessions to the past rejections, because all of that is clogging up your ability to be present and go out there and ask and have these iterative conversations, right? The back and forth, the two-way street. All of the past is what's preventing you. And the more that you allow that meditation to wash over you every single day, the more you will feel protected against rejection. Now, you've come to the end of this video and you're like, Victoria, that was great. That was awesome. I feel inspired, but I'm not on Skool yet. I have a ton of questions. What do? Click the contact link in the description of this video to hop on my calendar. I would love to talk to you about any questions you have about your fears of rejection, and whether I can help you or someone that I know. I'm happy to make sure that you get connected to getting the support that you need. Ask and it is given. Get out there. You got to be in it to win it. You got to be in it to receive the blessing. So with that, make sure that if you are made it to the end of this video, thank you. Hit the share button, right? When you hit the like, that tells YouTube that this was some good content. It was valuable, but not just hitting the like. What can really help me the most, if you want to give back where you have received, is share this on your social media platform, whatever your favorite one is, so that more people have access to this healing knowledge. I'm sending you so much love. Mwah! Sensei Victoria Whitfield from strategicmeditation.com. Remember, you do not have to lose your glow as you grow in life and business. See you in the next one, visionary. Bye for now.